If you want to pursue this dream yourself, all it takes are three things: legs of steel because the runs are long and steep, a hefty pocketbook because heli-skiing is not cheap, and one phone call to Canadian Mountain Holidays. Ken France is head guide at Canadian Mountain Holidays' Kootenay location. We asked Ken how many vertical feet a skier might ski on a typical day here in the Selkirks.
You'd be skiing anywhere from 13 to 20,000 feet a day. Some days in the spring, certainly when there's lots of light and the snow's good, 30 to 40,000 vertical is possible in a day. As long as everybody's standing up and the snow's good, you can do it.
So quick, Ken, think fast. How many times would you have to ski down Mount Everest to get to 1,000,000 feet?
Well, let's see. Considering Everest is just a little under 30,000, there's quite a few of them in there. But it's 1,000,000 vertical feet is a lot of skiing.
There is more than meets the eye to this adventure than just skiing down some beautiful mountains. When you do a reality check, you find that there are some considerable dangers involved in this sport.
Well, there's all kinds of different dangers. There's no shortage of those, but the primary concern is to make sure that avalanches themselves we're not exposed to them.
The threat of a deadly avalanche is an ominous hazard that skiers face in the wilderness. These are dramatic videos taken in Europe and elsewhere by amateur photographers that show the incredible power of an avalanche.
Yeah, safety is always an issue on this trip. Not only the fact when we get on an airplane we're flying up here, once we get up here we're in the mountains, flying around in helicopters in a wilderness environment.
If there is an avalanche, determine and mark the point where the skiers were last seen. Probe the area of the loudest signal. Dig with the shovel, following the probe to the skier.
Whenever there are accidents or problems up here, they typically get lots of play.
Then use the probe and shovel to find the skiers.
Although there obviously is some anxiety, and what's interesting this year is my daughter's decided that part of her role should be to worry more about me being up here. When I talked to her on the phone, she was acting more like my mother than my daughter and told me to be very careful while I was up here. We really are confident in the safety of the operation here and feel real comfortable. They have an excellent safety record.
One side of the valley versus the other may be entirely different as far as snow conditions go, or as far as avalanche conditions go. So you really need to spend a lot of time with your face in the snow and a lot of time on skis to be able to determine what it is that you do have and to be able to deal with the conditions safely.
On the morning of the second day, Gary is making slow progress toward the 1,000,000 vertical foot mark.
We're day 2. Not quite as much sun as yesterday, but the snow is still in just excellent shape. Still got probably another day and a half to go before we get to the 1,000,000 foot mark, but I'm sure enjoying it on the way there.
Today's a real unusual day because we're getting snow depths that are pretty deep relative to what we typically see up here. We're getting stuff over the knees pretty regularly. When we get to the steeps, we're getting stuff that's going over our heads, so it's really a special day today.
It's been a total of 17 years now that I've been coming up here.
In 17 years, Gary has had more than his share of special days here. When asked to pick his best skiing day ever, this is how he describes it.
The most incredible day I ever had was up here after we had been down a day, so the mountains had gotten snowed on. So we essentially had 2 days worth of a big dump to go ski. And it was like skiing through a window shade that was constantly opening and closing. When you turned, everything was white, and the shade would lower, and you could see, and you make another turn, and then suddenly you were blind again. It was an absolutely incredible